It's in Kilbricken. It's the road that brings you from the Quin Road through onto the bypass or the dual carriageway coming out from Clare roundabout. Heavily trafficked, particularly in the morning and the evening. I know a lot of the people living over there. There's 11 houses on the road, I think. I probably know 6 or 7 of them. They've all been onto me at some stage or another, because again, in recent weeks, with the development of the plaza, it's probably bringing more traffic onto it, unfortunately. I went over there one evening in particular, and the situation was it was carnage. Cars everywhere, couldn't move left, right or backwards or forwards. It was eventually freed up by one of the locals who went out, literally getting cars to pull into driveways to allow another car to pass by. What's the answer? It's to widen the road, but being realistic, that'll be a multi-million euro project, so that's not going to happen.
And as well as purchasing land from locals as well.
Correct. So that's going to be an objective. But in the short term, I've broached the subject with some of the residents over there. To me, the solution might unfortunately have to be to make it one way, because I can't see any other way of solving it in the short term.
Which way would you like to see it go?
God on me, I don't know. And you see, TII would probably have a role in this as well, because you are feeding onto that dual carriageway coming out of Ennis. I'd say you'd probably have to have it one way from the Quin Road onto the dual carriageway, I'd imagine. But I'm not a road engineer either, Sean. You
just touched on the residents' experience there based on your engagement with them. What's it like living on this road when at rush hour, at peak times, you can't get out your own driveway?
And that's it. And to have cars pulling into your driveway as well, naturally enough, the residents want to help the situation and they'll tolerate people pulling in. But that shouldn't have to happen. I mean, for a road like that, it was forgotten about when the bypass was constructed. This should have been factored in, but we can't go back there. It's too late to go back and blame it on the bypass. But the residents are living in a nightmare situation over there at the best of times.
Oliver Plunkett, thanks very much for having me in your home here, which is on the link road from the Quin Road to the motorway. And it's an interesting road because on the one hand you could say that maybe too many people know where it is, but on the other hand it's somewhere that maybe somebody who's not from Ennis wouldn't know about, or they wouldn't be able to picture. So can you tell us exactly whereabouts we are at the moment?
We're about a mile from the Mart on the Quin Road.
Obviously the big problem is that it's too narrow to carry 2 lanes of traffic, so you have people coming down here using it sometimes as a shortcut, using it as Councillor Murphy said, a bypass to Ennis, but what that means is that you have 2 cars meeting going in opposite directions. They have to pull in, and your gateway is often the one that suffers, and that leaves you trapped in the gateway at times, I imagine.
Well, I often said if there's an emergency, I don't know what will happen, because nobody can get in or out of the house. No matter, as I said, it's about a mile long at least, and there's traffic built up at both sides of it. I don't know where we'd go. So I don't know where it's going to finish, but something is going to have to be done. Whatever it's going to be, I don't know, but they have to do something about it.
A stressful enough ordeal, I would imagine, if you're trying to get out of the house and you find yourself locked in on both sides.
Yeah, can't help it. And the council put a yellow, what you call it, in front of the house, but it's no good. People are just parking above it. I'm not blaming. They can't help it, doesn't it? Because they have no place to go. But we seem to be the sufferers because of it, and that's it. Well, I don't know. We can't do anything. We can't do anything more about it. But something is the council. It's in the council's hands to do something, not ours.
Just to give a bit of background to this, obviously, again, it's a what you might call it's a boring. It's a narrow road. It's a road that was probably only built for a horse and cart maybe to go down. And now we're seeing not just cars but heavy goods vehicles and even buses at times.
Yeah. Well, sure. The green bus passed even here yesterday. If you think about it, the Mart in Ennis, which is the biggest Mart in Ireland, all the businesses on the Quin Road, they're all using it. We can't blame them for that. It's the shortcut. It's the nearest to get onto the bypass. If they go the other way, they have to go out through the Tuller Road. And the biggest mistake I think that they made the very first day was putting a bridge across the Quin Road. If that had been a roundabout, the whole thing would have been solved. The buses could come out of Ennis. They have to go out Clan Road the whole way to get onto the Tuller Road. When they could come out of the station and go straight out the road here, and they'd be gone in a matter of minutes. With signs on, there's a build up of traffic. The The lorries of cattle that are coming out of the mart, they're all passing down here every evening. It's just, you have to be here to believe it. But every lorries are ticks. They can't help it. That's it, because they don't want to be going back through the town. That's about it.
No doubt some people who live in Ennis or they live in surrounding areas like Clare Castle, Quin or Dora, they go down this road because they know about it. They know that when it's quiet it can be used as a shortcut or again as a bypass. But to what extent do you blame the likes of SatNavs, Google Maps or Apple Maps for bringing people down this road? People see it, they think, oh, that's a handy way of going around Ennis, but they don't realise what road they're going onto.
So that's the trouble, you see, the SatNav, most cars have them now. Lorries have them. So when they come out of Ennis, the day that Clare played Cork above Ennis, last April or May, whenever it was, there was a queue here on the road for 2 hours after the match. All the Cork people, this is the way they came. There was a hold up. A fella came down with a trailer and 2 horses in the jeep, and the whole place was blocked for an hour and a half at least after the match. And that's the case. There's so many different things happening around Ennis. Ennis is just blocked with traffic. But they have to get out of it somewhere. So I think they're using this road, and that's it. So as I say, it's the council's problem to do something about it. Whatever it's going to be, I don't know what it's going to be, but it's in their hands, no one else's hands.
And speaking of the council, as you know, Councillor Paul Murphy has raised it at a meeting this week, and the council have said that they're willing to look at options. They're willing to carry out an assessment of the road. A one-way system has been proposed. There's also been talk of perhaps buying land and widening the road, putting 2 lanes on it. Does anything come to mind for you as an obvious solution?
A one-way is definitely out. I wouldn't agree to a one-way. Traffic lights won't solve it. If they're talking about traffic lights, that won't solve it, because if there's a build-up on either side for even 2 or 3 minutes, when the lights will go green, there's a build-up on the other side and they can't pass because the road is too narrow. So that doesn't solve it either. So after that, that's 2 options that are out. Yeah. So the only option is the widening of it, but that's their problem. Mm-hmm. So that's about the size of it as far as I'm concerned anyway.
Dermot O'Gorman, you're a resident here on the link road between the Quin Road and the motorway. Can you tell me a bit about your experience of living here? What's it like to navigate this road each morning and each evening?
Yeah, well, Sean, it can be very difficult. You can be lucky, you can be unlucky. I was unlucky coming back here now from town to meet you, and I was delayed again. There was a backup in the narrow stretch of road in the middle. There's a stretch of about 200 metres in the middle of the road that's only about 3 metres wide. Not possible for 2 cars to pass. So it's when nobody yields, you have a problem. So we had somebody reversing back tonight again because they had gone too far, and with a line of traffic coming towards them, they had no option but to reverse.
And that's when the game of chicken, so to speak, develops, where you have 3 cars on one side, 3 on the other, or even just 1 on each side, but somebody has to make the decision to reverse back, and God forbid there might be a HGV or there might be a larger vehicle, and it's a challenging situation for motorists first of all, but also for people like yourself who live here and people who are trying to get out of their driveways.
Yeah, it can be very difficult. I know my next door neighbour has stopped using the road. He always goes by the bypass now if he's going to town. It's just from experience. He said it's just not worth it. It's not worth the hassle. It's not worth the inconvenience and the delay. So very often we have to do that. We can see the road is blocked, and we'd have to go around by Dura, around by the Sheeveen to get home. So it is a bit of an inconvenience. All right.
Has it become worse in recent years? Are more people finding out about the road? I suppose since the bypass, obviously, the nature of the road and the role of it has changed a bit, but maybe in the last 5-10 years with more sat-navs pointing people in this direction, have you noticed it becoming an increasing problem?
Yeah, I think sat-nav is a big problem. Most of the locals would understand what the inconvenience can be, but you do see a lot of foreign cars, tourists, and obviously their sat-navs are sending them down this road, and when they're in rented cars and that, they're just not able to manoeuvre them, so that has created problems too. It has been worse at certain times. A few years ago there was a contraflow on the Clare Road near the West County, and then it was particularly bad here. It was unbearable. But once the Clare Road opened again, it improved again, but it's got very busy again recently.
Have you raised this with local representatives or staff of Clare County Council over the years?
Yeah, I have. I always mention it. I've been talking to Paul Murphy. He's been very receptive to what I have to say. I and my neighbours put in submissions. There was submissions recently to the Clare County Development Plan or something. I can't remember what it was.
Local transport plan, possibly, was it?
Yeah, probably was. We submitted those last summer. Listing all these problems, all these difficulties we're having, and I don't know. At least we got our thoughts down on paper and we sent them in. So,
in terms of your own thoughts, then, is there a particular solution that comes to mind as being the obvious way to go?
Well, I'm aware that there is a plan. There is a drawing somewhere of a road linking the Skahana roundabout to the Quin Road east of Johnno's, and I think that road, if it were built, would be ideal. It would solve the problem straight away. The fact remains that the Quin Road is the only road in and out of Ennis that has no access to the motorway or the N85 bypass. Every other road has direct access to one another. We have none. The only access is down this bog road, and it's just unfeasible. It can't continue, and just there has to be a bit of joined up thinking here, and people have to say, look at all these businesses. If you were to list the businesses on the Quin Road, you have the bus and railway station, you have the NCT, you couldn't make it up, you have the Mart, you have the Quin Road Industrial, or the Dura Industrial Estate, the Quin Road Business Park, there's Clare Soccer Field, the Clare Camogie Field. All these are on the Quin Road, and there's no access to the county roads and the national roads. It's ridiculous.
In the short term, would you like to see what has been floated, perhaps a weight restriction to keep heavy goods vehicles and buses off it?
It might make a small difference. Heavy goods vehicles, when they do use it, can cause terrible problems, but it's mainly just a private car problem. Just too many people trying to go in two different directions, and there's not room for both.